The stars shone brightly in the dark sky of the desert planet. The wind was cold, sharper than any the aliens had felt before. Their ship, small but strong, landed softly on the dry sand. Inside the ship, 5 aliens looked out at the strange world with wide eyes. They had traveled far from their home. They hoped to find new places, new friends, and new chances to grow. The aliens were tall and covered with thick scales. Their scales were strong and kept them safe in many places. But this desert was different. The days were hot and full of light. The nights were cold and very dark. The cold was so strong it made their scales crack and hurt. They were not ready for this cold. They had no warm clothes. They had no heat. The leader of the group, a tall alien named Orin, stepped out of the ship. He looked at the sand dunes that moved like waves in the night. The wind blew hard. The cold cut through his scales. Orin felt a sharp pain. He touched his arm and saw tiny cracks in his scales. He frowned and spoke softly to his friends. "We must find shelter quickly," Orin said. "The night will be long and cold. If we stay out here, we will freeze." His friends nodded, their faces showing worry. One of them, smaller but quick, named Lura, shivered. Her scales were already dull and breaking in places. She had never felt cold like this. The aliens packed some small bags with what they could carry. Their ship was safe, but it had no heater. They needed a place to hide from the cold wind and darkness. They began to walk into the desert, hoping to find rocks or caves. But the desert was empty. The sand stretched far and wide, with only the stars above to guide them. The cold grew stronger with every step. The aliens' breath made small clouds in the cold air. Their scales cracked more. Their legs felt weak. Orin stopped and looked back at the ship. "We cannot stay far from here. We must find shelter soon." Suddenly, Lura pointed ahead. "Look, there is a light far in the distance." A small warm glow flickered near a group of stones. The aliens looked at each other, hope shining in their eyes. Maybe this light meant life. Maybe this light meant warmth. They moved faster toward the light. As they got closer, they saw it came from a small entrance in the sand. The light was soft and orange, coming from inside a bunker made from sand and old bones. The entrance was low, but wide enough for them to enter. Orin stepped forward and called out, "Hello, we are travelers. We need shelter and warmth. Is anyone here?" The light moved, and a figure appeared in the entrance. It was a human. He was tall, wearing old clothes patched many times. His face was rough but kind. His eyes showed surprise but no fear. "I am Sam," the man said. "You should come inside quickly. The desert night is very cold." The aliens did not wait. They moved into the bunker as fast as they could. The warm air inside felt good against their cracked scales. The walls were made of sand packed tightly with bones and old plants. There was a small fire burning, giving the place a cozy feeling. Sam moved to the fire and handed the aliens blankets made from animal skin. "Here, wrap these around you. They will help." The aliens were grateful. They wrapped the blankets around their cold bodies and sat near the fire. The heat slowly made their scales feel better. They looked around the bunker, amazed by the simple but smart design. It was quiet and safe. Orin thanked Sam. "You have built a fine place. We do not have shelters like this on our ship. We are lucky to find you." Sam smiled. "This desert is harsh. You must be ready for everything. I learned to live here by using what the desert gives. Sand keeps heat during the day and holds it inside at night. Dead plants and bones help block the cold wind." Laura looked at Sam with new respect. "Your knowledge is useful. We want to learn." The night grew deeper outside, but inside the bunker, the aliens felt warm and safe. They talked quietly with Sam, sharing stories about their worlds. They explained where they came from and why they had come here. Sam told them about his life in the desert and how he had survived alone for many years. Orin looked at the stars through a small opening in the bunker's roof. "We have much to learn from each other. Your home is strange but kind." Sam nodded. "And your world is far but interesting. Maybe this is the start of something new." The cold outside was still strong, but the fire inside gave hope. the aliens felt less afraid. For the first time in many hours, they rested with peace. As the night passed, the desert wind howled, but the bunker stood strong. Inside, humans and aliens shared warmth, stories, and dreams. The journey was just beginning. The cold desert night stretched on, but inside the bunker, warmth held strong. Sam sat near the fire, watching the aliens slowly regain their strength. Their cracked scales began to heal in the gentle heat. They looked tired but grateful. Sam had lived in this desert for many years. The stars and sand were his only friends. He had built the bunker with his own hands, using knowledge passed down from others who once tried to live here. Over time, he had learned how to use the desert itself to protect himself. Sand, bones, dry plants, and fire all worked together to make this small place safe. But before he met the aliens, Sam was completely alone. The desert was a silent, harsh world. At times, he wondered if anyone else was alive on this planet. He remembered how he had first found this place, years ago, after his ship crashed during a storm. He had wandered the desert, searching for water and shelter. He found nothing but dry sand and broken rocks. One day, after almost giving up hope, he discovered a small cave hidden by sand dunes. Inside, he found bones of strange animals and old plants. Using these, he started building his bunker. He worked for months, digging deep into the sand and stacking bones to hold the walls. He packed the sand tightly to keep the cold wind outside. He made a small fire pit in the center, with stones around it to hold heat. The entrance was low so wind could not blow inside easily. It was not a palace, but it was home. Now, looking at the frozen aliens warming near the fire, Sam felt a mix of sadness and hope. Sadness for their pain, but hope that they might be new friends. One of the aliens, a tall one named Ril, stood near the entrance. He looked at the desert night with sharp eyes. "Your home is small but strong," he said to Sam. "How did you learn to survive here alone?" Sam smiled quietly. "I learned by watching and trying. The desert is harsh, but it teaches you if you listen. Sand keeps heat inside, bones block cold winds, and fire warms the heart." Lura, who was sitting by the fire, nodded. "We have much to learn from you. On our ship, we have technology, but it cannot protect us here." Sam thought for a moment. Technology is good, but it is not always enough. Sometimes simple things work better. You can use what is around you. The desert gives you tools if you know where to look. Outside, the cold wind howled again. But inside, the air was calm and warm. Oren, the leader, moved closer to the fire. He watched the flames dance and then looked at Sam. "Tell us more about your life here. What do you eat? Where do you find water?" Sam leaned back on the sand floor. "Food is hard to find, but the desert has its secrets. Small plants, insects, and animals live here. I hunt carefully and gather what I can. Water is the hardest part. I collect dew in the mornings and find hidden springs. Sometimes I trade with desert animals in my own way." The aliens listened closely. Their eyes showed respect for Sam's strength and knowledge. Ril looked curious. "How do you stay safe?" "The desert is dangerous," Sam laughed softly. "I have learned to be quiet and watchful. The desert has many dangers, storms, wild animals, and cold nights. But the worst danger is pride. If you think you can control everything, the desert will teach you otherwise." Lura smiled for the first time since their arrival. "Your wisdom is different from ours, but it feels true." The aliens felt tired but safe. The fire's warmth and Sam's words gave them hope. Sam stood up and walked to a small corner of the bunker. He pulled out some simple tools and showed them to the aliens. "These are what I use to survive," he said. "A knife for cutting plants and animals, a small pot for boiling water, and a bag for carrying things. Nothing fancy, but enough." Oren examined the tools carefully. "Your ways are simple but strong. We will try to learn." Sam nodded. "Tomorrow, I will show you how to find water and food. Tonight, rest. You need strength for the desert." The aliens thanked Sam and settled near the fire. Their bodies still ached, but the warmth made them feel alive again. Outside the bunker, The desert was cold and dark. The sand shone under the stars like tiny mirrors. The wind carried whispers of the night. But inside, the fire crackled softly. Humans and aliens shared a quiet peace. Sam looked at the stars. Through the small roof opening, he thought about the aliens' journey and his own long years in the desert. Two very different worlds had come together by chance. He wondered if this meeting was fate or luck. As the fire burned low, Sam made a small promise to himself. He would help these aliens survive. They would learn from each other. Together, maybe, they could turn this lonely desert into a place of life. The night passed slowly. The cold wind never stopped, but the warmth inside the bunker never faded. Morning would come with new challenges. But for now, there was hope, friendship, and fire. The sun began to rise slowly over the endless dunes of the desert. Its light painted the sand in soft gold and orange. The cold night was gone, but the desert still held its silent, quiet power. Inside the bunker, the small fire was dying out, but the warmth stayed in the thick walls made of sand and bones. Sam woke first. He stretched and looked around at the aliens resting near the fire. Their cracked scales were healing fast. The blankets helped keep the heat close. The aliens looked peaceful for the first time since they had arrived. Sam smiled softly. Today will be a good day, he thought. He moved to the small storage area and pulled out some simple food. It was dry, hard, but it would give them strength. There were dried fruits, small nuts, and some roasted seeds. Orm was the first alien to wake. He sat slowly, feeling the warmth of the fire on his body. He looked around the bunker carefully. The walls were rough but strong. The smell of dry sand and old bones was strange, but not unpleasant. We thank you, Sam. Orm said quietly. Your home has saved us. Sam nodded. I'm glad you are safe. This place may not look like much, but it can protect you from the desert's cold and wind. I will show you more about how it works. The aliens gathered around as Sam stood and began to explain. This bunker is like a shell. The sand and bones are thick, so they keep the heat inside. The fire burns slowly to give warmth, but not too much smoke. The entrance is small so wind cannot blow inside. At night, this place is safe from storms and cold. Lura, who was sitting near the fire, looked thoughtful. Your shelter is simple but smart. We should build something like this on our ship. Sam smiled. You can. But here, you need to use what the desert gives. Sometimes, simple things work best. Real. Another alien touched the wall of the bunker. The sand feels warm even after the fire goes out. Yes, Sam said. Sand holds heat well. It takes the heat during the day and keeps it inside at night. That is why sand is so important. The aliens listened carefully. They had many tools and machines on their ship, but none worked well here. The desert was strange and hard. Show us how to build a place like this, Orn said. We want to learn. Sam smiled and agreed. First, you need to know where to find good sand and bones. He stood and walked outside. The aliens followed him out into the bright morning sun. The desert looked different in the day. The dunes were high and soft, and the air was dry and hot. Sam pointed to a nearby dune. That sand is fine and dry. It is perfect for building. He walked carefully, showing them how to gather sand without making dust fly into the air. The aliens watched and copied him. Next, Sam took them to a place where old bones lay scattered on the sand. They were from animals that had died many years ago. The bones were strong and dry. Bones help block the wind, Sam explained. They are light but hard. I use them to make walls strong. The aliens picked up some bones and felt their smooth, hard surfaces. It was strange but interesting. We do not have bones like these on our planet, Lura said, but we can use strong materials like metal. Sam nodded. Metal is good, but here, metal is rare. The desert gives you bones and sand. You must use them. The aliens spent the morning learning how to gather sand and bones. They listened to Sam's stories about the desert secrets and dangers. They asked many questions. After some time, they returned to the bunker. Sam showed them how to pack the sand tightly to make strong walls. He explained how to stack bones in the walls to stop wind from blowing inside. The aliens worked hard. They pushed sand into place and carefully put bones between the sand. It was difficult work, but they helped each other as the day passed. The bunker grew stronger and warmer. The aliens were surprised at how much they could build with simple things. Your knowledge is useful. Oren said, "We will take these ideas back to our ship." Sam smiled. "You are welcome here anytime. The desert is hard, but with good shelter, it is possible to live." As the sun began to set, the temperature started to drop again. The cold night was coming fast. The aliens returned to the bunker, tired but proud of their work. The fire was ready to be lit again. Sam showed them how to start a fire with dry plants and stones. The fire grew quickly, and the warm light filled the bunker. The cold wind blew outside, but inside, the aliens felt safe and warm. Oren looked around and said, "Your shelter is more than walls and fire. It is a home." Sam nodded. "A home is where you feel safe and cared for." That night, the aliens slept better than before. They dreamed of new beginnings and friendships. The desert was still cold and dark, but inside the bunker, hope burned bright. The night was calm inside the bunker. The fire crackled softly, giving warmth and light. The cold wind blew outside, but inside, Sam and the aliens felt safe. They sat close to the fire, sharing the quiet peace after a long day. Oren, the alien leader, looked at Sam with curiosity. "Your home is small, but it holds much strength. You have lived here alone for many years." Sam nodded slowly. "Yes, many years. I learned to live with the desert, not against it." Lura, the small alien with cracked scales, smiled softly. "We have always used machines and technology on our ship. But here, those things do not work well. Your simple ways are strong." Sam looked at the fire, thinking, technology is good, but it cannot replace understanding nature. The desert teaches you to be patient and careful. Ril, who sat quietly near the wall, spoke. "Tell us about your world. How did you come to live here?" Sam sighed and began his story. "I was once like you, a traveler from another place. My ship crashed on this desert planet many years ago. I was alone with no way home." The aliens listened closely. Their eyes showed respect and sadness. "I had to learn fast," Sam continued. "Water was hard to find. Food was rare. The cold nights could freeze me if I stayed outside too long. But I did not give up." Oren asked, "What kept you strong when you felt alone?" Sam smiled faintly. "Hope. The hope that I could survive. The hope that someday I would find friends." The aliens looked at each other. They understood that feeling well. Lura said, "We are glad we found you, Sam. Your courage is great." Sam looked at the aliens and asked, "What about your home? Tell me about your world and people." Oren smiled. "Our planet is very different. It is warmer and wetter. Our scales protect us from heat and danger. We live in cities full of light and machines." Lura added, "We travel far with our ship. We explore many planets. But the desert here was harder than we expected." Ril nodded. "Our machines could not keep us warm. We felt weak and scared." Sam listened carefully. "Your technology is advanced. But the desert is not an easy place for any machine." Oren looked thoughtful. "Your knowledge of nature is a gift. We want to learn how to use both technology and nature to survive." Sam nodded. "That is wise. The best way is to combine both." The aliens shared stories about their travels and the places they had seen. Sam told tales of his life in the desert, the animals he had met, and the storms he had faced. The more they talked, the more they understood each other. Their differences seemed smaller than their shared will to live and protect friends. Laura smiled warmly. "We will teach you about our technology. It can help make your home better." Sam smiled back. "And I will teach you more about the desert. How to live with it, not fight it." The night passed slowly. Outside, the desert was cold and dark. But inside, a new friendship grew out as the fire died down. Oren looked at Sam. "This meeting is a new beginning. We can learn from each other and grow stronger." Sam nodded. "Together, we can make a home in this desert for both humans and aliens." The aliens rested, feeling safer and warmer. Sam felt hope he had not felt in many years. The desert was still hard, but the future was brighter. The sun rose high over the desert, shining its warm light on the sand dunes. The sky was clear and blue, but the heat was strong. Inside the bunker, Sam and the aliens were already busy with the day's work after their long talks the night before. Everyone felt stronger. The cold of the night had passed, but the desert's challenges remained. Sam knew it was time to teach the aliens how to live in this harsh place. The aliens were eager to learn. They wanted to build their own shelters and understand the desert. Better. Sam started the day by showing them how to find water. Water is the most important thing here, he said. Without it, no one can survive. He led the aliens to a small valley not far from the bunker. There, hidden under rocks and plants, was a small spring of fresh water. Sam carefully scooped some water in a container and passed it around. The aliens drank slowly, tasting the cool, life-giving liquid. This water is rare, Sam explained. You must use it wisely. The aliens looked at each other, understanding the value of what they held. On their ship, water was easy to get. Here, it was a treasure. Next, Sam taught them about desert plants. These plants may look small and weak, he said, but they survive by saving water. Some have thick leaves, some have long roots. They give food and medicine. Sam showed the aliens how to gather dry plants for fire and food. He also taught them how to boil water using simple tools. The aliens were surprised at how much the desert offered if you knew where to look. While the aliens learned, they shared their own knowledge. They showed Sam small machines that could filter water and measure air quality. Sam was amazed but careful. Machines are helpful, he said, but they need power and repair. The desert does not always allow that. The aliens nodded. They realized that a balance between machines and nature was best. After the lesson on water and plants, the group returned to the bunker. Sam wanted to teach them how to improve the shelter. He showed how to use bones and sand to build thicker walls. The aliens learned to pack sand tightly and place bones carefully to stop cold wind. They worked together, laughing and helping each other. The aliens were strong but new to this kind of work. Sam was patient and kind. Oren looked at them, growing walls, and said, "Your ways make this place stronger. We will use these ideas on our ship." Laura smiled and said, "We never thought simple things could be so useful." As the sun moved lower, the temperature began to drop. The desert's heat faded, and the cool night came. The aliens helped Sam build a fire pit outside the bunker. They learned how to gather dry wood and light a fire safely. The fire's warmth made the desert night easier to face. Round the fire, they talked about their hopes. Oren said, "We want to explore more planets, but now we know how to survive better." "Your knowledge is a gift." Sam looked at the fire and nodded. "And your technology can help me. Together, we are stronger." The desert night was long and cold, but inside the circle of fire and friendship, everyone felt warm and hopeful. The next day would bring new challenges. But now, Sam and the aliens faced the desert together. They had learned from each other. They had grown stronger, and they were ready for whatever came next. The desert had been calm for several days. The sun burned bright during the day, and the nights were cold but peaceful. Sam and the aliens had grown used to their routine. They gathered water, built stronger shelters, and shared stories around the fire. But one afternoon, the sky began to change. Small clouds appeared on the horizon, dark and heavy. The wind, usually soft, started to grow stronger. Sam noticed the change first. He looked up and felt a chill run through his body. "This is not normal," he said quietly. Oren and the others stopped their work and looked toward the sky. The clouds moved faster, blocking the sun's light. The desert's warmth began to fade. A storm was coming. Sam hurried back to the bunker. "We must prepare," he said. "A desert storm can be very dangerous. Strong winds and sand can damage everything." The aliens moved quickly. They helped Sam gather supplies and reinforce the bunker's walls. They packed more sand tightly against the bones, making the shelter thicker. They covered the entrance with heavy pieces of old wood and stones to keep the wind outside. The wind grew louder. The sand began to blow in sharp waves. The sky darkened, and the first drops of rain fell. "Stay inside," Sam warned. "This storm can last many hours." The aliens nodded and followed Sam into the bunker. The small space felt crowded but safe. The fire was lit again to give warmth and light. The storm hit hard. The wind howled like a wild animal, pushing sand against the walls. The rain mixed with sand, creating a thick dust that blocked the air outside. The bunker shook with the power of the storm, but Sam's careful building held strong. The aliens held onto each other, feeling fear but trusting their human friend, Orin. Looked at Sam. "You built this well. It is strong." Sam smiled tiredly. "The desert can be cruel, but with respect and care, we can survive." Hours passed. The storm did not stop. The sound of the wind was loud and unending. The fire flickered, but stayed alive. Inside, the group shared stories to keep their minds calm. Laura spoke softly about her home planet and her family. Sam told tales of his first days in the desert and the lessons he learned. The aliens realized that fear was natural, but hope and friendship were stronger. Finally, after what felt like forever, the storm began to fade. The wind slowed, the rain stopped, and the sky cleared. When the group stepped outside, they saw the desert had changed. Sand dunes had shifted, plants were broken, and bones were buried deeper. But the bunker stood firm, a small fortress in the empty desert. Sam looked around with pride. "We made it," Orin smiled. "Together, we can face anything." The aliens helped Sam clean the bunker and repair small damage. They worked as a team, stronger than before. That night, the stars returned, shining bright and clear. The desert was calm again. Sam and the aliens sat near the fire, tired but happy. They had survived the storm. Their friendship was stronger. Their trust was deeper. The desert was still wild, but they were ready. Together, they could survive anything. The desert was quiet once more. The storm had passed, and the sun rose slowly, casting soft light on the sand dunes. The sky was clear and blue. The cold night had faded into a warm morning. Sam stood outside the bunker, feeling the gentle breeze. On his face, he looked at the aliens nearby. They were strong now, healed from the cold and ready for what came next. Their scales shone under the sunlight. They had learned much about the desert. They had changed. Orin stepped forward. "Sam, we thank you for your kindness and help. You saved us from the cold and taught us to survive." Sam smiled. "We helped each other. Your friendship means a lot to me." Laura nodded. "We want to stay longer. We want to learn more and share what we know." Earl looked at the horizon. "The desert is hard, but with your help, it feels like home." Sam felt warmth in his heart. For many years, he had been alone. Now, he had friends from another world. The group made plans. The aliens would build more bunkers near the desert. They would explore together. Sam would teach them more about the plants, water, and ways to stay safe. In return, the aliens shared their technology. They built small machines to help find water deeper underground and to filter it better. They created tools to help with building shelters faster. Their knowledge and Sam's experience combined to make life easier. The desert was still wild, but now it felt less lonely. One morning, the group stood on a high dune, looking at the endless sands. The wind whispered softly. The stars would return at night, but now the sun warmed the land. Orin turned to Sam. "We came here as strangers, but now we are friends together. We will explore new worlds, learn new things, and grow stronger." Sam nodded. "Together, we will make this desert and others better places to live." The aliens prepared their ship for new journeys. Sam decided to travel with them, to see new worlds and share human knowledge. They said goodbye to the bunker that had kept them safe, but not forever. Their journey was just beginning. The desert had taught them many lessons. It had been cold and harsh, but it had also brought them together. In a universe full of stars and planets, humans and aliens found friendship in the night desert. They learned that no matter how different they were, They could survive and thrive by helping each other dot, and so, under the wide sky, a new chapter began.